Hi guys, I hope that you are doing well, and today we're going to talk about the new moon in the sign of Gemini conjunct Mars on December 8th. And I'm gonna briefly mention what signs are going to possibly benefit more from this full moon, what signs are going to be more neutral to this full moon, and what signs are going to be maybe impacted in a more challenging way. So let's start with the strongest influence of this full moon. Of course, it is going to be impacting Gemini and Sagittarius. I would say that with this full moon, guys, you're going to possibly go back to a conflict that you've been dealing with for quite some time and finally resolve it in your favor. I hope, this full moon also makes a trine to Saturn, which gives me hope that whatever this conflict is that may be coming back from the past is coming back to be resolved once and for all through hard work, possibly through some sort of repetitive action where maybe we have to talk to somebody one more time, maybe we have to, go take action one more time, but it will be resolved finally. This could be a situation that has been ongoing for the last 6 months, okay? Maybe for the last month or so, but I would say probably 6 months max. As for the signs that are going to be actually impacted a lot more positively by this new moon, I'm not saying that, Gemini and Sagittarius are not going to be impacted positively. No, I think that this is just the time of big decisions for them and maybe even some life-changing events. But as for the signs that are going to receive a lot of positive influence from this full moon are, of course, air signs. Those are Libra and Aquarius. So you guys are going to have a trine, whether it's to your sun or to your rising sign, from the planets in Gemini. And you are going to possibly successfully resolve a situation that also has been ongoing for about 6 months. This could be the time of culmination, very positive culmination, a start of something new as well, because a certain chapter that maybe could have been challenging in the past is now finally completed. And those that are going to be more challenged by this energy are fellow mutable signs. Those are Pisces and Virgo. I wouldn't say that you are going to be challenged necessarily. By the way, if you do have sun in Pisces or sun in Virgo, you may feel this energy in a little bit more tense way. But if you are rising in Pisces or Virgo, this is just about requiring a lot of your energy, a lot of your action to complete a certain step in your life. And of course, the rest of the signs are going to have more of a neutral influence possibly from this full moon, but it still may benefit I want to say fire signs a little bit more than the rest, because fire signs are going to receive a sextile to this from this full moon, and they may actually be able to complete certain tasks, to be able to achieve certain goals around this full moon with much ease than others. But a lot of action is going to be required here. It can't just be something that completes on its own, like you've done some work in the past and now it's done. No, you'll have to do more work still, but you'll receive a green light to do those things. But let's talk about each sign in more detail. We're starting with Aries. Hi Aries, I hope that you are doing well. So your full moon in Gemini conjunct Mars retrograde is happening on December 8th in your 3rd house. And that's exactly the house of communication and the house of all the dealings with other people, where you may have to seek a certain compromise, right? You may have to call someone, go to a meeting, go to an interview. You have to maybe travel somewhere to complete a certain task, to complete a certain contract situation. There is definitely something here connected to communication that may be required, and it's not necessarily something new. It's something that you are currently completing, something that you've been dealing with for possibly the last 6 months, maybe even a month, but there's definitely past energy attached to it. You're familiar with it, you know exactly what you need to do, and you will be completing a certain goal of yours, maybe connected to collaboration, connected to networking with others, or just overall through a lot of communication, maybe interviews, maybe you have to interview someone. There is also a chance to receive a document that maybe you've been working on for quite some time, and maybe now you have to just hypothetically, travel somewhere I'm going to have this full moon in my third house in Placidus, and I'm actually traveling to Washington, D.C., okay, for legal matters to renew my passport. So, you know, there could be something like that there, where you are completing a process to receive an important document, and you've done this before. You know, it's time for renewal, for example. You know what you're supposed to do. There is also an educational pursuit that's finally coming to an end around this full moon, and you're happy that, you know, maybe you've taken a lot of action, you have, you know, you've been very active, and you've put a lot of your energy into a certain educational pursuit, but now that it is coming to an end, there's a new chapter there. Maybe you're not completing your education completely, but there's some kind of a step that you might be completing around this time, and it feels good. You know, it feels like it's some kind of a natural ending, which leads to new beginnings. Thank you guys so much for watching, and now we're moving on to Taurus. Hi Taurus, I hope that you are doing well. So for you, full moon in Gemini conjunct Mars retrograde is happening in your second house. This is, of course, a financial completion, right? There may be a realization around this full moon, around December 8th, that maybe a certain source of income is not quite working for you. So maybe you need to adjust it, you need to remove it, right? You need to somehow alter it. Maybe there are some adjustments that need to be made. And, you know, with Mars retrograde, it's something very much familiar, something that you've been through before, something that maybe requires a little bit more action from you right now so that it can be kind of perfected, I guess. But overall, this could be you letting go of a source of income that is no longer serving you, or draining a lot of your energy. You know, there is a lot of action taken, there is a lot of time invested, but maybe it wasn't quite paying off. Of course, this can also talk about some sort of a prize, bonus, some kind of a payout that you may be receiving around this time, and it is based on your past actions, okay? The amount maybe that you're going to receive is based on what you have done in the past, and maybe you have to do something one last time, you know, to be able to actually get this payout, get this thing. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's like a financial prize of some kind. You need to get it approved, right? And then it will come. But most likely it will anyway, and most likely it's going to be relatively easy for you to complete things here. There's also finally maybe a purchase that is coming to fruition, you know, with when Mars started going retrograde. When Mars went retrograde, maybe you placed an offer like on a house or something, and now, you know, your real estate transaction, for example, is coming to an end, and you will be able to receive your keys soon, and so on. And this could be a purchase, not necessarily of a property, you know, but maybe anything else, any kind of a large purchase that is finalized around this date, and maybe you are going to enjoy some kind of a nice new purchase soon. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and now we're moving on to Gemini. Hi Gemini, I hope that you are doing well. So, full moon in Gemini in your first house is happening on December 8th, and this is a big one for you, because first of all, Mars has been retrograde in your first house, which, you know, is kind of two sides of the coin, because on one hand, it's like you are going inward, you're working on yourself, maybe you're going to past gaps, you know, that need to be filled now, and you are working a lot and productively, you know, on those gaps, filling out those gaps. Maybe gaps in communication with someone, you know, maybe gaps in certain relationships, maybe gaps in documents, whatever this may be, you know, you may have been working quite a lot, and especially it would be relevant for Gemini rising. But now that this full moon is coming up, there is a major project that is possibly completed around December 8th, and it has something to do with you and another person, or you and a group of people, because it seems like it's not just you that is involved in a certain project, in a certain case here. It is also somebody else, like a business partner, romantic partner, marriage partner, a friend, someone here that's like assisting you, helping you, and this is the outcome of this full moon is based on your past actions. meaning that maybe you and your partner have worked hard in the last 6 months, at least 6 months, maybe even in the last month or so, to be able to complete a certain task, and now it is finally being completed. However, you know, this isn't necessarily just team effort, you and someone else, like a partnership effort. This could also be you trying to work on a certain relationship in your life for the last 6 months. It may or may not work out, you know, because full moons, new moons, a lot of times they can be simply neutral. They can be ending things that are either no longer serving you, or ending things that just, you know, it's time for them to end, it's time for them to transform. So a relationship may or may not end around this time. It may transform, it may be there may be a certain action that you still have to take, that last action that you need to take to be able to somehow benefit a certain relationship in your life. But I would also say that, you know, full moon in the first house brings children, brings conception, brings big purchases and big sales. It brings a move. It brings, you know, starting a relationship or divorcing, getting married, and, you know, maybe involving in some kind of negotiation in a legal case, you know, that coming to fruition finally. So there's so much that can happen here in the first house. All I can say though is that the result will depend on your past actions, and maybe there will be one last action that is required from you to fully be done with this and no longer have to come back to it. This is something that truly you're not going to have to come back to again, and I find that to be exciting. I find that to be something that's going to be huge weight lifted off your shoulders. So take action, take the necessary action, even if it is something that you've already done before. I think it will benefit you either way, dear Gemini. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that this was helpful, and now we're moving on to Cancer. Hi Cancer, I hope that you are doing well. So your full moon in Gemini conjunct retrograde Mars is happening in your 12th house on December 8th. And this is an interesting full moon in the 12th house because, you know, Mars transiting the 12th house is always very much restless energy, especially if you are Cancer rising, okay? Very restless energy, very tiring, exhausting energy, you know, sleepless nights, possibly insomnia, nervous tension sometimes can be very much relevant. But at the same time, you know, Mars going retrograde, there is something here that is connected to your health, possibly your mental health, your emotional health, that needed to be looked at, possibly, and still needs to be looked at. So with the full moon in the 12th house, there may be, to be honest with you, a difficult period in your life for you mentally, emotionally, that may be coming to an end. You may experience relief in a certain on a certain health journey here. On the other hand, this could talk about a hidden project that is coming to completion, and you have to take just one last action to be able to complete it and be done with it once and for all. And yeah, you know, this can be something for work that is behind the scenes, or this can be something personal, some kind of a personal project. For example, I don't know, you are planning, you're like plotting something, you know, you're maybe planning to start your own business, so you've been doing preparations behind the scenes. Maybe you are possibly dating someone, but behind the scenes, and now around this full moon you decide to finally go public with the relationship, you know, finally to tell your parents, to tell your friends, to, I don't know, post a picture on social media, right? There could also be, but there is, you know, with Mars retrograde, there is something here required from you, some kind of action. You can't just let it slide. You can't just, you know, make it happen on your own. If there is something connected to your health, you have to go take action on it. You have to go to the doctor, have to take a procedure, right? There's something here that still needs to be done on your end. And also with full moons in the 12th house, you may have been hidden from public, from society, from, I don't know, maybe you've been working from home, you know, for the last 6 months or so, maybe. For some people, maybe even longer, for some people not so long, but you may have been somehow hidden, and now you are going to come out, you're going to be seen, you're going to be noticed. Maybe you're going to move to a different part of the office where you're seen a lot more. Maybe you're no longer going to be working from home, like you're going back to the office. Maybe you are just coming out with some kind of a new project, new idea, you know, and everybody can see it now, and everybody can kind of comment on it, and, you know, you're no longer hiding, you're no longer working on something behind the scenes. But I hope that this was helpful. Dear Cancer, thank you so much for watching. And now I'm moving on to Leo. Hi Leo, I hope that you are doing well. So for you guys, this full moon in the no, not in the 10th, in the 11th, I looked at the wrong sign. In the 11th house, conjunct Mars retrograde, is gonna make a sextile to your sun or rising sign. I would say that this particular energy talks about confirming something for yourself that is connected to a community that you belong to, or to a certain person in your social circle. Mars retrograde, or generally Mars in the 11th house, can bring a lot of communicative energy where there's a lot going on, you know, a lot of communications between you and others, a lot of networking between you and others, just a lot of busyness, right? And it's not just you that's involved, you know, it's other people as well. With Mars there, you know, on like the other side of the coin, it can bring up conflicts between you and your community, between you and friends, or some kind of misunderstandings. So in this case, I feel like this full moon is that point of clarity, that you're going to know exactly who's your friend, you're going to know exactly what to do about a certain friendship. You know, you may feel like you want to just detach once and for all, and that last conversation may be required for you to be able to detach. Because with Mars retrograde, we are completing something, we are receiving a result based on our past actions, and in this case, you know, this can indicate that maybe, you know, one last conversation needs to be had, or maybe you have to somehow leave the community or engage with the community to be able to understand what your next steps have to be. But it's definitely, you know, if you've been weirded out by a certain person, by a certain community, this is the time when all the secrets kind of are going to be exposed. Not necessarily secrets, but you will receive clarity on what kind of people, let's say, you're dealing with, right? And also this could be maybe you completing a certain project that is connected to social media, and maybe it now going public, you know, it coming to light, everybody can see it, everybody can kind of comment on it. Or maybe you are completing something once and for all that has something to do with social media. For example, you are deleting your website, or maybe you are restructuring it somehow. But there is some action required here. Overall, I think it's not really that bad of a, you know, that negative of a time, even if, you know, certain community may expose information to you. You know, I feel like you're just going to know who you're dealing with, and you're going to be able to take proper steps forward. There is definitely a team project that could finally be completed around this time, and one last action is required, and I think that it's going to be completed successfully. Thank you guys so much for watching, and now we're moving on to Virgo. Hi Virgo, I hope that you are doing well. So for you, full moon in Gemini conjunct retrograde Mars is happening in your 10th house. That's a significant full moon for you, and full moons in the 10th house usually do speak about our status in some sort of status change, social status, immigration status, work, right, career ladder, what's happening on that ladder, and so on, our public image. And there may be a conclusion, or I should say, you may receive some sort of clarity regarding your work and the proper steps forward. It's like you're going to know what exactly to expect from your career now, and you're going to know what steps you should be taking towards the goal that you may have. And you know, in some cases this could be ending a certain career and pursuing a different one, you know, maybe something that is going to relate more to your lifestyle, something that maybe is going to be to give you a better work home life balance, right? You will really want to engage in some kind of a new pursuit, right? Something that is more connected to you, on many different levels, but in order to have that, there is some kind of action that is required here. Maybe you are trying to find a job, right? And you have been possibly for the last 6 months or maybe for the last month. And this could be the time when you actually get a job, right? But with Mars, of course, you know, the result can depend on our past actions. And besides that, you know, with Mars being there, you have to kind of showcase your talents, showcase your skills. You know, you have to get out of your comfort zone. You have to really show who you are, what you can do. And, you know, some people could be actively working on their resume around this time and applying for jobs actively, or maybe impressing the authorities at the existing job, you know, trying to maybe get promoted. You could get promoted, okay? You definitely could, because this full moon suggests that something is going to be done, something is going to be finished, and you will be able to move on to the next step in your career pursuits, in your, you know, the job that makes more sense to you right now, right? Maybe the job that doesn't drain all of your energy and so on. And you could also receive a very important document around this time, or an important status change. But in order to have that status change, you have to go somewhere, talk to someone, you have to, I don't know, get interviewed, you have to send a document, right? There is definitely that action that will be needed from you, but I think that overall, even though it seems like a challenge, especially for Virgo Sun, but for Virgo rising is just a significant pivotal point, you know, in their year ahead, or I should say the very end of the year, and they are going to be able to complete it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and now we're moving on to Libra. Hi Libra, hope that you are doing well. So the full moon in Gemini conjunct Mars retrograde is happening in your 9th house, and you are one of those lucky signs, lucky air signs that this full moon is impacting nicely. I would say that there may be an opportunity to travel abroad or to move, an opportunity to finish some kind of a legal case here. However, with Mars retrograde, you know, maybe it's something that you've been working on for a little while now. There may be that last action that is required from you, for example, to send out that last document, to go to an interview, to go to the embassy, to talk to the lawyer, to, I don't know, to go to a court date, I don't know, but there is definitely some kind of last action here that should bring you to the result that you want. For some of you, maybe education is finally over, and you can breathe in, you can breathe out, you know, and maybe this full moon is going to impact your time in a different way, where you are going to be done with a certain educational pursuit. You're gonna have more free time. You're gonna have more free time to explore, you know, to explore in the world. You potentially learned a new skill, and now you can explore. Now you can maybe apply for jobs, you know, with that specific skill. Now maybe you can, I don't know, possibly even learn something new, learn some kind of a new skill. But overall, this is about some kind of positive completion that opens new horizons for yourself, whether they are in terms of career, in terms of education, in terms of immigration or travel, and so on and so forth. And if you are, for example, abroad right now, it could be the time when you're simply going home, you know, or maybe you are, yeah, you're returning from a trip. Maybe it could be that you are about to go on the trip, but there is that last document that you need to bring, or maybe you are waiting for an interview, and so on and so forth. So I would say that overall it's a pretty positive time. You know, yes, some action is required, but it's required from all of us, you know, because this full moon is conjunct Mars, and Mars is retrograde, so it's something familiar to us. You're not going to start anything new around this time. Most likely you're going to be finishing up something that you've been involved in for a while. But thank you guys so much for watching, and now we're moving on to Scorpio. Hi Scorpio, I hope that you are doing well. So for you, this full moon in Gemini conjunct Mars retrograde is happening in your 8th house. And I feel like, to be honest with you, especially for Scorpio rising, there is some sort of a difficult situation in their life right now. It could be connected to health, it could be connected to finances, resources, right? It could be connected to like a marriage partner, a partner that you share with, you know, and most likely usually through a legal marriage. There is an ending to this situation. So yes, it could be that a crisis might be ending around this time. This could also be that source of income, whether it's yours or your marriage partner's source of income, but it is somehow being changed. It's somehow being adjusted. It is possibly no longer going to be a thing. And with Mars retrograde, there is some kind of action that is required one last time to be able to change the source of income, improve it somehow, or maybe get rid of it altogether. You know, for example, there is some kind of passive income coming from the property. Now you decide you want to sell the property. You're taking those last steps to be able to sell the property and no longer have to deal with it, right? This could also be possibly divorce for someone, divorce completing, and maybe you're receiving that last decision, right, from court in terms of how you split the assets and resources and so on. This could be the time of a health matter that may be coming up to the surface where you are required to simply take care of it. You know, with Mars retrograde, this isn't something new. We're very much familiar with what's going on, and we're able to take the action that we need to. We have the resources to take that action to be able to complete the situation once and for all. But I cannot deny the fact that the crisis could end. Yes, not on its own, because with the conjunction to Mars, you have to go and do something for it, right? But at the same time, it can end positively for us. We no longer have to come back to it. We take the action now, and then we can just relax and no longer have to worry about anything. So, yeah, I would say that that's pretty much how this could play out. I don't really see any other themes here, unless maybe you're going to discover some kind of a spiritual practice here that is going to be very impactful, that is connected to maybe like yoga or something, you know, something that has to do with physical body or physical movements. And it's something that maybe you used to do but kind of dropped it, abandoned it, and now you're picking it back up and it's giving you the results that you need. But that's it, Scorpio. Thank you so much for watching, and now we're moving on to Sagittarius. Hi Sagittarius, I hope that you are doing well. So your full moon in Gemini conjunct Mars retrograde is happening in your 7th house, and you, just like Gemini, you are you know, you hold significance in the beginning of December, or I should say first 2 weeks of December. I believe that you are definitely going to be in the spotlight, of others. Full moons in the 7th house sometimes have us kind of go out there and prove ourselves, defend ourselves in front of authorities. For some people, you know, if it's connected to negotiations or some kind of deals, financial deals, you may have to, you know, go out there and defend your beliefs, defend your opinions. Court cases can be very prominent here, where again you have to go out and do something, right? Have your say. Job interviews could be coming up that are successful here. It's not something new. Let me just put it that way. With Mars retrograde, it's something that you've already dealt with in the past. You are very familiar with that energy. You know what to do, you know what's required from you, and you're asked to take that one last action. And the result will depend on the past actions. But if you take this one last action, if you are careful about it, if you are mentally prepared to, or I should say mentally focused to take the action that is the most beneficial for you now, things are most likely going to end with a very positive outcome. Now, I'm still very much hopeful that this can bring you only positive results, no matter what it is. But if you are involved in a toxic relationship, with Mars being in the 7th house and being retrograde right now, it's like bringing up all the shit, you know, from the relationship up to the surface. and the conflicts, the misunderstandings, all of that can be very strong around this time. So if you really don't want to take any more crap for someone, if you don't want to deal with anything toxic, right? This could be the time where you may just say goodbye to a certain partnership. This could be the case, you know, but with Mars retrograde, it's like an old issue will come up again. And, you know, it may be pretty frustrating, and it's like you may feel defensive around this time because you feel like people are maybe attacking you with their opinions, and nothing is new, you know, it's all the same crap, but it's coming up. So this could be the case as well. However, this full moon is really nice for those that have some sort of negotiations, that have to have, you know, their say and convince someone, you know, and for those that want to take action, for example, you know, get a job, get interviewed, right? This is a good full moon for those that maybe want to sell something, for example, a property, you know, want to get rid of something and are taking all the actions to do that. That's a good full moon for that. But I hope that you guys found this helpful. Thank you so much for watching. Now we're moving on to Capricorn. Hi Capricorn, I hope that you are doing well, and your full moon in Gemini conjunct Mars retrograde is happening in your 6th house. There can be a certain project at work that you are completing around this time, and this could be some sort of a draining project, you know, that's been ongoing for maybe a few months, and it's something that maybe you could not wait to finally be done with. And yes, around this time, you know, you could be done with the job itself. Maybe there could be a project that is coming to fruition around this time. Maybe if you have management, almost like the kind of management that is in conflict with everybody, you know, that is hard to get along with, that is hard to be around, you know, this could actually bring you the change within the management in the company, you know, maybe some people leaving, some people coming in, you know, there could be a lot happening there where you no longer have to witness the same people at your job, you know, the same management at your job. And I mean, maybe for some people it's actually nice, but with Mars conjunction to this full moon and Mars being retrograde, it is almost requiring some kind of action from you, you know, maybe the management may change because of you, because of your last say, because of your opinion, because of your facts. Maybe, you know, the project is going to be finished and come to light, come to the surface because of your last actions that you need to take on this project to make it actually come out and be seen. Maybe there is some kind of a health concern that you're dealing with, and now it's the time to actually get treatment, you know, or go to the right specialist for this particular problem. And if there is no problem, sometimes, you know, watch your health, because full moons in the 6th house, they can bring up some sort of a problem. Please be careful around this full moon when it comes to doing any kind of physical activities, sports, right? Because Mars is there, Mars retrograde, it can be some kind of accident proneness. So I would be just really careful with the physical body, with physical activities around this time. But if there is some sort of health issue that has been kind of hiding from you, sometimes full moons, you know, they bring clarity, they kind of illuminate the situation. And you may actually find out what's finally wrong with you, and you can take proper actions to heal, to treat yourself. What else? Well, I would say that's pretty much it. You know, I cannot really think of anything. Yes, you could actually change jobs around this time. You know, you could really be fed up. There is some sort of conflict that may potentially arise at work, not necessarily with you specifically, but just generally at work, within that team, within the department, that may actually make you question what you're doing here, you know, and may make you want to change your environment, to somehow change your schedule, your lifestyle. Like, you don't want to be in the conflicting environment, and you may be taking action to change that. So you may have been trying to, by the way, for the last 6 months or so, and now it's time that it actually happens for you. Thank you guys so much for watching, and now we're moving on to Aquarius. Hi Aquarius, I hope that you are doing well. So your full moon in Gemini is happening, conjunct Mars retrograde is happening in your 5th house. That's a nice energy for you. You know, this is a full moon that's making a trine to you. And my laptop just died, great, but good thing that I remember the placement for everybody anyway. So yes, this full moon possibly is going to bring up a conflict with a child to the surface, if especially the child is a little bit older. There can be a past situation that is coming around, and you know, no matter how maybe everybody tried to avoid it, it's time to face it now, and it's time to talk it out. And with Mars being retrograde there, it's not new. You know, it is something that has been ongoing, but it almost seems like your action is required here to actually smooth out the edges and to make something good out of this conflict, something productive, you know, maybe create some kind of future steps for your child to either make progress where they need to, or maybe in regards to your personal relationship with a child where things should just be more peaceful again. And it's like resolving a conflict with a child, especially if they are older. But it's positive, you know, it's a positive influence, meaning that most likely it is going to be resolved in your favor, in child's favor as well, like compromise is found here. Now, on the other hand, this could be possibly you finishing up some work regarding a project of yours, a creative project, a work project, like a business project. And now with Mars retrograde, there is that one last touch, one last step that needs to be done, and then it is coming to the surface, this project. Everybody can see it now. It's almost like you have to showcase it. You have to be on stage, you know, showcasing this project. It could be a time of joy, simply. But joy, based on your past actions, something here may get resolved in your favor that brings you a lot of joy, playfulness, optimism for life. And I think that a lot of Aquarian people need it. They need it after, you know, the craziness of Saturn. Not the craziness necessarily, but just overall, you know, the transit of Saturn over their sign, over their sun, over their rising sign. There may have been, you know, many different times when you couldn't quite feel optimistic, you know, maybe where you were too limited, or you felt like there was too much responsibility on you. You had to always be serious and keep your guard up, and you couldn't quite relax in the last couple of years. But now, you know, with this full moon, it seems like you've worked hard with Mars retrograde. You know, you are able to relax a little bit now, maybe go on vacation, maybe you know, maybe receive a lot of joy from a project that comes to light and brings you some sort of recognition, brings you success. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and now we're moving on to Pisces. Hi Pisces, I hope that you are doing well. So your full moon in Gemini is conjunct Mars retrograde is happening in the 4th house. Big one for you, just like for Virgo, just like for Sagittarius. So I would say that in my particular example, full moon in the 4th house, I am renewing my passport, and I actually have to travel to the embassy to do that. So, you know, there is that one last action that is required, but it's something familiar. It's something that you already know how to do. And, you know, something that you know exactly, like, you know exactly what's required from you. So this could maybe be you going over certain documents connected to property, connected to your residence, connected to your citizenship. You are going over documents, maybe legal documents, right, or maybe real estate documents. There is some kind of one last action that's required. It could be that maybe you are remodeling your home. It could be that you're trying to build a home. And, you know, this is actually a pretty good time to break something apart in the house, you know, to do some remodeling, especially if it's been lasting, you know, for a while, if it's not a new project suddenly, you know, you decide around this full moon that you want to change the roof in your house. You know, no, this is something that you probably already have been planning in the past or kind of working on. And it's sometimes, unfortunately, the kind of energy that brings conflicts between you and people that you live with, or you and your family, like your parents. So watch out for that. You know, there may be an old conflict, a really old conflict that comes up again, but it's the chance to resolve it. It's the chance to be able to deal with it once and for all, no longer have to come back to it, no longer have to bother with it. But at first it may feel kind of uneasy, it may feel uncomfortable, unfortunately. It is the kind of energy where you're being somewhat attacked, but, you know, maybe not physically, but generally, you know, there is some kind of an old issue that may be coming up. And you have to defend yourself, but at the same time, this is a great chance to resolve that old conflict between you and people that are the closest to you. I feel like this full moon is actually strengthening the bond between you and someone else here. What else can I say about this? Well, yes, legal document, you know, immigration documents you may be working on, and that one last step that is required, you know, maybe to, I don't know, go to an interview, maybe to send that last document, maybe go to an embassy or something. There could be things like that there as well. And for some people, maybe this could be connected to a job. For example, you're no longer going to be working from home, you're going to start going to the office. For others, quite vice versa, you know, you may actually stop working at the office and start working from home, and you've tried to fight for it, you know, fight for that position, for like a remote position, for example, for a long time, and now you can do it. Now it happens for you. But maybe you have to convince someone, just one last time, convince someone to give you that opportunity to either work from the office, work from home, work from a different country, whatever that may be, right? But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.